Happy Friday, everybody.
It's
Welcome.
Friday.
It's finally Friday.
It really is. How's your week been so far?
Beautiful.
Same. Yeah, this weather has been amazing. It just puts a smile on my face every day.
I hope it's good tomorrow as I'm setting up my barbecue in Wardensville.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too. I'm excited. Yeah.
First time of this year, so I'm hoping we sell out.
Go, Eric.
All right, so you didn't tune in to hear Eric and Amy ramble about their lives. It's about David's life today.
It really is, yes. King David. But he's not quite king yet, is he?
No, and you should model your life definitely after David, not us, probably.
Yeah.
Because he is a man after God's own heart. I say it a lot just so it sinks in, people.
Yes.
It's important to know that that's how he is known in this whole story of the Bible.
Yes.
It's not just David king. It's David, a man after God's own heart.
Because he's trusting of who God is. He's obedient to what God calls him to do. He's doing all the right things at this point. Right?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So last episode, we talked about the epic battle that was not a battle.
Right.
It was a one-sided triumph where later his head gets carried all around. It's kind of cool.
And by his, you do mean Goliath and not David. Yes. Let's not confuse people, okay?
Sorry.
I knew what you meant, Eric, but...
Sorry, people. I did not mean to throw a wrench in that one. But yeah, David triumphed in ease and then just carried his trophy around for a while.
Yes, he did. And then, since you're a barbecue guy, Eric, and I don't know your methods, but, the barbecue rub, right? The spices and all that. So I want to talk to you about the rub here.
Okay.
The rub is that Saul was growing increasingly fearful of David, right?
Yes.
Because all of a sudden he is this celebrity among the people. And I think he was growing bitter. And we already know that the Spirit of God left Saul and he's being tormented, right? So Saul's already in a bad place and he's just being less and less effective as a king. And David is growing mighty in stature and in reputation and all that. And so here's the rub. Like, even though Saul despised David, his son Jonathan loved him.
Yeah. Yeah, Jonathan, which is Saul's oldest son, who would have been king had Saul done what he was supposed to do, probably.
Yeah.
We're reading in 1 Samuel 18, verse 1 through probably... We're going to go over the whole thing, but 5 is where the story of David and Jonathan's friendship.
Yeah.
And verse 1 in the ESV version, I told Amy it's very poetic. It says, as soon as he had finished speaking to Saul, meaning David, the soul of Jonathan was knit to the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul. And in verse 2, and Saul took him that day and would not let him return to his father's house. And then Jonathan made a covenant with David because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was on him and gave it to David, and his armor, and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. And David went out and was successful wherever Saul sent him, so that Saul set him over the men of war. And this was good in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants.
Yes.
But for that part where he's knit together with the soul of David and Jonathan.
Yes.
My buddy DJ, he always tells his congregation, he says it a lot to me, that he and I have a David-Jonathan relationship. We're brothers, but we're not related. So. And that's how that's how some of this Christian life works, is sometimes you'll find that person that you just click. And you're just together, and God has ordained that you're going to do things together. You're going to be together in life. And that's what Jonathan and David were. It's kind of funny because you would think David and Jonathan's friendship wouldn't have happened because of the rift between Saul and David. You've got a guy who is king and his son who should become king after him, but that kid becomes friends with the guy who is anointed over the other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're besties.
Well, and Saul knew he screwed it up too. Yeah. He knew that this is his fault. So it's, talk about some crazy family dynamics here.
And then you got to look at Saul, all right, so this guy just defeated the Philistines basically by himself.
Yeah.
And Saul's got to be going, I don't want this guy around.
Yeah.
But if I don't put him in charge of my army, I'm in trouble. So Saul's in this between the literal rock and a hard spot at this point. Because he's like, I don't know what to do. What would you do if you knew that guy's probably replacing you?
Yeah.
So at any point he could kill you. But if I put him in charge of the army, he could overtake me. But if I don't put him in charge of the army, I'm probably not going to have a kingdom. I'm in trouble.
Yeah. No, he's going down either way. Yeah, because the men, I mean, you got to imagine after David just confidently slayed that giant, the men loved him and looked up to him, and they would probably go and do anything David commanded of them. And so Saul knew that David had command of his own armies, that they're going to serve David and not Saul. So, yeah, and on top of that, his son just thinks David's the greatest thing ever. And yeah, Saul's having a rough one at this point. So
good. And then after that, we go into verse 6, and this starts the jealousy of Saul and David. Well, Saul, I guess, not David. David's not jealous of anybody. He's kind of just like, whatever. I'm going to do what God tells me and go on about my business.
Mm-hmm.
So as they were returning home from striking down the Philistines, the women came out from all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul with tambourines and songs of joy and musical instruments, and the women sang to one another as they celebrated. Saul has struck down thousands, and David has struck down tens of thousands.
They knew what they were doing.
I mean, come on, people. Like, you really want to agitate the king by putting him in a subpar spot there?
Right.
So the next line says, and Saul was very angry. Well, duh.
Yeah, well, and then I have this refrain, meaning the song, displeased him greatly. I'm like, well, if that isn't the understatement of the year.
I can't even imagine, like, what he was thinking. He's like, let this guy be in charge, and now I'm second fiddle.
Yep.
But, yeah, that's where it starts. I mean, he was not happy that, David killed 10,000s, and he killed thousands.
Yes.
That's a funny way to put it.
Absolutely.
And Saul's eyes were fixed on David from that day on, in verse 9 is what mine says.
Yes.
That's a good way to say he had an eye on him all the time. He was watching everything he did, trying to figure it out.
Yep, as that old expression goes, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. That's what he was pretty much doing at this point, right? Saul was like, I got to keep an eye on this David character.
All right. Do you want to read verse, I think, 10 through 16 there, maybe?
Of Saul, what? I'm sorry, Samuel 18?
Samuel 18, yeah.
Yeah, 10 through what?
10 through when he threw the spear.
Okay. Yes, sir. All right. So, yes, this is 1 Samuel chapter 18, starting verse 10. It says, the next day an evil spirit from God came forcefully on Saul. He was prophesying in his house while David was playing the lyre, and as he usually did. Saul had a spear in his hand, and he hurled it, saying to himself, I'll pin David to the wall. But David eluded him twice.
So a couple things there get me. Is this giant war hero, right?
Yeah.
He's still playing to soothe the...
I know!
It's like, what are you doing with your day? Well, I sit here and play for the king, even though I've killed thousands and thousands of men. Just, playing my lyre.
Exactly. I'm just going to pull David away from War College so he can play me some calming tunes. Like, what the heck?
I just find that so funny that David's original calling is still there.
Yes.
And he's like, I'm just going to play music, make the king happy.
He's well-rounded, like I said.
So anyways, then he throws a spear at David to try to pin him to the wall, and he evaded him twice.
Yeah.
So at that point, we know Saul is pretty mad.
Yep.
And both in head and in temper.
Yes. And David knows to watch his back.
Yes.
No doubt. But I do love how, like, in verse 14, it said, in everything, God gave David great success.
Yeah.
I mean, because, again, he was just faithful and he was patient. And I'm sure he's looking at this, it's like, this king is a coward. He should have gone out there and slayed this giant. Why did I have to do it? And by the way, why am I anointed king and yet this jerk is still on the throne? Like, that's what I would be thinking, But here's David just still lovingly playing the lyre.
Oh, love it. So then we move on through 1 Samuel 18. And this has to be a kick to Saul, too. Like, in verse 17, Saul told him that, if you kill Goliath, you get to marry my daughter. So Now David, the guy who's going to take his throne, and he knows he's going to take his throne, gets to marry his daughter.
Yes. Yeah.
So not only is he taking his throne, his kingdom, but now he's taking his daughter.
Yep.
So, and his son.
Yeah.
So he's taking his family, basically. He's taking his... No wonder Saul was a little angry.
I mean, his kingdom is crumbling very quickly. Yeah. So, where do we want to skip down to now? Let's see here.
I don't know. Do we want to go through the marriage part at all, or it is what it is? He got married, and Saul's not happy.
Yeah, exactly.
So that gets us over to 19.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's another attempt on David's life there.
I believe there is. Let's see here. Yeah.
Start with 1.
I guess so. Let's see. So Saul told his son Jonathan and all the attendants to kill David. That's simple as that. But Jonathan had taken a great liking to David. Now that I think again that's an understatement of the year. But anyway, Jonathan warned David, saying, "My father Saul is looking for a chance to kill you. Be on your guard tomorrow morning. Go into hiding and stay there. I will go out and stand with my father in the fields where you are. I'll speak to him about you and will tell you what I find out." So, and they had this whole plan of how they were going to kind of talk.
It was a really interesting plan.
Yeah, it was.
The plan was that, I can't find it here, but anyways, David was going to hide, and basically Jonathan was going to shoot arrows.
Mm-hmm.
And if he told the attendant or his servant to go beyond where David was, it was to run.
Yeah.
And if it was to retrieve the arrows, it was okay for David to come back to the house.
Yes.
Which is funny because when Saul was there and this happened, he told him to run, basically is what Jonathan was telling David was, run, my father's going to intend to kill you.
Yes.
And it's really funny because David ran. Again, David, the guy who just took down Goliath, who had no fear at all of facing this guy who defied the living God.
Yeah.
Saul's God had departed him. He knew that Saul had no God in him, yet he ran from this guy.
Yeah.
Because of the honor that he was the anointed at one point.
Yeah. Yeah. He recognized that God had chosen Saul. And if God didn't want Saul being king anymore, it was certainly not David's job to take him out. It was God's job, right?
I mean, if he can take out Goliath in one stone, you know that he could take out Saul, who has no backing from God.
Absolutely.
But he just chooses to just let the plan go about the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
So after he gets this message from Jonathan, he flees, goes, meets Samuel, and that starts David running for his life for the next bunch of years.
Yeah.
And for us in this next couple episodes, we're going to go through a bunch of the running.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go through a lot of these stories of what happens with David on the run and how Saul's pursuing him. And I think one of the funniest ones is like David has an army of like 300.
Yeah.
And Saul has like 8,000 coming after him. And David gets away every time. And he's always so slick and so fast. And that's a sign that God had a bigger purpose for him, because he didn't know that if Saul could kill him or not, because Saul was this big, mighty warrior at one point.
Yeah.
David was just this little kid. And I don't know if that's how the fear was, or if it was just because Saul was the king and he respected him so much that he just thought, I'm not going to kill this guy. It's going to be God's doing.
Right. Well, and he also knew, like, if God anointed him to be king, he knew he was going to be king. But, like, I also would not just stick around and be in this guy's presence, making him mad, making him throw spears at me, insults me, all the stuff that probably Saul was doing. I think David was like, I'm just going to tap out until my time comes. I mean, I think that's kind of, I don't think he was necessarily fearful of Saul, because he knew if God says I'm going to be king, I'm going to be king. I mean, he was a faithful guy on that battlefield, and I think that translated to his whole life. But, what do you do while you're waiting to become king? Eric, it's a problem I've never had. So.
Yeah, I've never had that one either. It's kind of I don't know. There's so many lessons to learn from David, and this is one of them that, again, God's timing is more important than ours.
Yes.
And again, you just got to wait and know that God's there. He's got you. He's got a plan. And listeners, I've talked a couple times about visions and prophecies, and David spoke a prophecy over Goliath that he was going to take his head. Well, sometimes God can give you a prophecy in your life or a vision in your life or a dream, and he can show you an end.
Mm-hmm.
And that end may be a certain spot, and you think you're going to get to that spot, but he never shows you the path.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's God's purpose, is he's testing you in that path to see how you're going to react, to know what that end really is going to be. And he may have a great plan for you, and you could screw it up. I mean, I know that there's been times in my life where I've probably screwed up whatever he has, but God's really good at making sub-plans and plan Bs and Cs and Ds, and I think I'm on like 85 plans later, but
I think you're right where you need to be. I just think you had to go through a few cycles before it clicked. That's how I think it works. It's more circular.
But I do think that that's God's ultimate plan, is he'll show you where you're supposed to get, but he won't show you how to get there.
Yeah.
He tends to let you feel your way through that one and find your own route, but at the same time, he's always got you. He's always holding you, and there's a verse that I'm pretty sure it came from David, that he will set your feet on the right stones, on the pathway.
Yeah.
And it's in Psalms, but I don't remember the exact verse. But anyways, I know that that's what he's doing. He's walking, he's holding you up, he's making sure you don't go off the path, but he's allowing you a little bit of free will to kind of go over here. And he's like, no, you're wrong. Come back over this way just a little. I'm going to correct you. And that's what happened with David here. He knew the end game was, I'm king.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I'm going to be king. It's, I am king.
Yeah.
But when am I going to sit on that? And he trusted God enough to say, you take care of that. I'm just going to keep being who you want.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's time for a Friday tradition. We're going to stack some stones.
Okay, let's stack some stones.
All right, and I'm going to make Amy go first again.
I had it, and then I kind of feel like I forgot it again. But no, let's see. Well, I had a really great day. I've mentioned it before, but Trevor, I know he's listening now. And now he told me he has another friend that has a podcast. So he's going between two different friends that have podcasts and trying to listen. And we just spent a day together not too long ago. And Eric, we just talked about so many deep topics, and it was just awesome. I'm just grateful for his friendship. I'm grateful that, long before you ever talked about doing this podcast, God was planting seeds in his life. And so it's just so exciting when you start to see those seeds take root. So I'm just excited for him and for the path that he's on and where God's going to take him. So, as we're talking about David, this mighty warrior, Trevor, I don't know what God's going to do with your life, but I know it's going to be something. So, I'm praying for you, buddy.
All right. So, my stone's going to be kingdom living.
Okay.
Sounds kind of funny, but my church, we have a belief that kingdom here, kingdom now. Mm-hmm. That's what my pastor's preached for a lot of times. And I'm so grateful for that, because I live in a place like we have with the people I'm around all the time. Big Blue people, my church people, my work people. And they all understand that it's not our job to sit around and wait on heaven. It's our job to sit here and do God's will of the King.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thankful that I live in an environment where that is possible.
Yeah.
I think about these other countries, and what brought this in my mind is I always check our stats. I'm down to once a month, I just check our stats on all the platforms we're on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't ever get any other countries.
Yeah.
But last night, I think it was, I was looking. And as I was looking at these stats, and I'm looking at this country's map, and we have 3 or 4 different cities in the United States that we're popular in.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no countries on that. No countries have listened to us. And I keep thinking, one of these days, we're going to pop in one of these countries where it's forbidden.
Ooh.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Where God is not allowed in that country, but our airways can get there.
Yes.
You may not get a physical Bible. You may not get the physical preaching and teaching there, but that our little podcast out of this little hole in West Virginia could land in some tiny spot over an airway that nobody's ever seen.
That would be amazing.
So one of these days, I'm going to come back with my stone is that we got it.
Yeah.
Got that really obscure little spot or that other country. So that's my prayer. And listeners, if you're out there and you're praying with us, pray that happens.
And pray boldly.
Pray boldly that God will put us in a spot where people can't reach.
Yeah.
But that radio can, or podcast, whatever you want to say.
That's so great.
But that's my stone for the day, that I live in an environment of kingdom living.
Yeah.
So, all right. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
No longer fit tomorrow.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in today. I really love that y'all joined in and you got this far. So here's a few things that we'd ask for you to do. Please go to whatever platform you're on, because we're on all the major platforms. And if you're listening to this, you know that. So like, subscribe, share, and invite others to listen. Also, we have a Facebook page, Born Again to Live, the podcast. So go there. Send us prayer requests, comments, whatever you want. It's all there. Private message. If you need answers to questions or any of that, we're there for you. So, thanks again.